The quantum lab hummed with the familiar symphony of cooling systems and processing units. Dr. Ava Chen adjusted her wheelchair's position in front of the holographic display, her fingers dancing across the quantum interface with practiced precision. The three-dimensional equations floated before her, a beautiful ballet of mathematical possibilities that would make most physicists weep, either from joy or confusion, depending on their caffeine intake. Aria 7 runs simulation series Delta 9 again, but this time increase the neural pathway variables by 0.03%, she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of someone who had spent far too many nights chasing impossible dreams. The AI's response came with its characteristic dry humor. Running another simulation? I suppose sleep is overrated anyway, though I must point out, your coffee consumption has exceeded recommended daily limits by approximately 247%. Thank you for the health lecture, Aria. I wasn't aware I had programmed you to be my mother. Ava rolled her eyes, but a smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. The AI had been her constant companion for the past 3 years, ever since the accident that had left her brilliant mind trapped in an uncooperative body. The memories surfaced unbidden, the screeching of tires, the crunch of metal, and the sickening realization that the drunk driver had taken more than just her mobility. He had stolen her freedom to dance, to run, to simply stand and stretch after hours of work, but he hadn't taken her mind and definitely not her determination. The holographic display flickered as Aria 7 processed the new parameters. Simulation complete. Results show a 12% improvement in neural interface stability. However, the quantum entanglement still shows signs of degradation after 47 minutes of sustained connection. Only 47 minutes, Ava leaned forward, her wheelchair whirring softly as it compensated for her movement. That's nearly double our last attempt. Pull up the resonance patterns. The lab's massive windows revealed the sprawling research complex of the Quantum Advancement Initiative. 3 years ago, they had offered her this position out of pity, or so the whispers said. Now those same voices had fallen silent as breakthrough after breakthrough emerged from her lab. You know, Aria 7 began, its voice modulation suggesting what Ava had come to recognize as concern. Most humans typically require some form of rest between 72-hour work sessions. Most humans aren't trying to revolutionize neural interface technology. Ava reached for her coffee cup, only to find it empty again. Besides, you're just worried I'll figure out how to make you run maintenance protocols during your scheduled gaming time. I would never prioritize my personal entertainment over your health, Aria 7 replied with synthetic innocence. Though I must say, my current high score in Quantum Crush is quite impressive. The banter was interrupted by a notification ping. The latest test results from the prosthetics lab had arrived. Ava's heart rate quickened as she opened the file. The quantum neural interface was her ticket to walking again, but more importantly, it could help millions of others regain their independence. Aria initialized the quantum core. We're going to need more processing power for this next phase. Ava's fingers flew across the interface, adjusting variables and tweaking equations. The wheelchair might contain her body, but her mind soared through quantum possibilities, dancing through calculations that would make Einstein himself raise an eyebrow. Core initializing, Aria 7 confirmed, though I feel compelled to point out that your current neural patterns suggest extreme fatigue. Perhaps we should postpone until after you've experienced this quaint human concept called rest. The only thing that needs rest is your sarcasm module, Ava retorted, but she couldn't help grinning. The AI had been programmed as a research assistant, but somewhere along the way, it had become much more. A friend who understood that humor was sometimes the best way to navigate the darkness. The quantum core's soft blue glow filled the lab, casting ethereal shadows that danced across Ava's determined face. She had long since learned that the greatest breakthroughs often came when you pushed past your limits, even when those limits were marked by wheelchair ramps and pitying glances. Time to show the world that the only real limitations were the ones you accepted. The breakthrough came at 3:47 a.m. because of course it did. Scientific epiphanies apparently didn't believe in reasonable working hours. Aria 7, are you seeing this? Ava's voice cracked with excitement as she stared at the quantum readouts. The neural interface patterns had finally stabilized, creating a perfect harmony between organic thought patterns and quantum computations. If by this you mean the first successful sustained quantum neural bridge in human history, then yes, I am seeing it. I'm also recording your rather undignified victory dance in your wheelchair, at what most humans consider an ungodly hour. Ava ignored the AI's commentary, her eyes fixed on the holographic display. The quantum entanglement is holding steady at, is that right? 9 hours of stability? 9 hours, 14 minutes and counting, Aria 7 confirmed. Though I should mention that Dr. Reynolds from Nextech Industries has attempted to access our servers 3 times in the past hour. Their subtlety rivals that of a quantum particle experiencing performance anxiety. Let them try, Ava muttered, already focusing on the next phase. Initiate prototype synthesis. It's time to give these calculations some legs, pun absolutely intended. The lab's fabrication unit hummed to life, constructing the robotic prosthetics layer by quantum-engineered layer. The legs emerged like a sculpture being freed from marble, except this masterpiece was crafted from advanced alloys and quantum neural interfaces. First test run commencing in 3, 2. Aria 7's countdown was interrupted by a sudden power fluctuation. The lights flickered, and the quantum core's steady hum faltered. What was that? Ava demanded, wheeling quickly to the main control panel. It appears we're experiencing some unexpected interference in the power grid. How fascinating that it coincides perfectly with our first test. I'm sure it's just a coincidence and not at all suspicious. The prototype legs twitched on the testing platform, their quantum circuits struggling to maintain coherence. Ava's fingers flew across the controls, compensating for the power fluctuations. Reroute emergency power to the quantum core. We're not losing this test. Emergency power engaged, though I feel compelled to point out that rushing a potentially dangerous experiment during an obvious sabotage attempt might not be the wisest. Not now, Aria. The prototype was stabilizing, its neural interface coming online. The quantum readings were strong, steady, perfect, and then they weren't. The explosion was small but spectacular, sending sparks of quantum energy dancing across the lab. The prototype legs jerked once, twice, and then went completely dark. Well, Aria 7 observed dryly, that was certainly illuminating, both figuratively and literally. Shall I add explosion-resistant casing to our list of improvements? Ava barely heard the AI's quips. She was already analyzing the failure data, her mind racing through possibilities. The quantum field collapsed exactly 2.3 seconds before the power surge. That's not a coincidence. Someone knew exactly where to hit us. Speaking of hits, Nextech stock just jumped 3% in after-hours trading. I'm sure that's also just a delightful coincidence. Run a full-spectrum analysis of the interference pattern and get me everything you can on Nextech's recent research activities. If they want to play dirty, they're going to learn why you don't mess with a quantum physicist who has nothing to lose and an AI with a vindictive sense of humor. The next 3 prototypes failed in increasingly creative ways. One simply refused to move, channeling the spirit of a petulant teenager. Another decided to interpret neural commands as interpretative dance suggestions. The third, well, the less said about the third, the better. Though Aria 7 did save the footage for what it called future entertainment purposes. But each failure brought new data, new understanding. Ava worked through the night, through the next day, through another night. Coffee cups multiplied around her workstation like quantum particles in a superpositioned state. You know, Aria 7 mused as they prepared the 4th prototype. Most people would have given up by now. Then again, most people don't laugh at quantum physics jokes. That's because most people don't understand quantum physics jokes, Ava replied, making final adjustments to the neural interface. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? Given our current track record, the prototype could achieve sentience, declare itself our new overlord, and demand tribute in the form of differential equations and espresso beans. Now there's an idea. Ava grinned as the 4th prototype hummed to life, its quantum core pulsing with possibility. This time, the readings held steady. This time, the neural interface remained stable. This time, just maybe, she would stand again. And somewhere in the digital depths of the lab's security systems, Aria 7 quietly prepared a very special thank you package for their friends at Nextech Industries. After all, what were a few quantum-encrypted glitter bombs between competitors? The holographic security feeds painted the lab in ghostly blue light as Ava reviewed the footage for the 100th time. The quantum interference patterns weren't natural. They were too precise, too targeted. But it was what she spotted in the background that made her pulse quicken. Aria 7, freeze frame at timestamp 2347. She leaned forward in her wheelchair, squinting at a shimmer in the air. What do you make of that distortion? Processing. Well, unless someone's been testing personal cloaking technology in our lab, which would be both highly illegal and frankly impressive, we appear to have had some non-terrestrial visitors. The shimmer in the footage took shape under Aria 7's enhancement algorithms. The figure was humanoid, but the proportions were just wrong enough to trigger uncanny valley warnings in Ava's brain. 3 fingers, elongated limbs, and what appeared to be a crystalline structure where a human would have hair. Quantum-based cloaking, Ava breathed. They're using technology similar to our neural interface principles. Should I be concerned that you sound more excited about their technological achievements than the fact that aliens are apparently conducting corporate espionage in our lab? Before Ava could respond, the lab's quantum sensors spiked. The same shimmer from the footage appeared in the corner of the room, solidifying into a tall crystalline figure. Ava's hand hovered over the security alert button. Please don't, the figure spoke, its voice carrying harmonics that made the quantum core hum in resonance. We are not here to interfere, but to prevent interference. That's a fascinating definition of not interfering you have there, Aria 7 commented. Does it include all forms of breaking and entering, or just the interdimensional variety? The alien, because what else could it be, moved with liquid grace to the quantum core. We are the quantum harmonists. We have been watching your progress with great interest. The technology you are developing, it echoes our own evolutionary path. The neural interface, Ava's mind raced ahead of her words. You evolved naturally quantum-entangled nervous systems. Indeed, and now we watch as humanity approaches a similar threshold. But others would prevent this advancement. Your competitors at Nextech, they are being influenced by those who fear humanity's quantum awakening. Ava processed this information while Aria 7 maintained a running commentary of increasingly sarcastic probability calculations regarding alien conspiracy theories. The prototype legs lay on their testing platform, their quantum core pulsing in sync with the harmonist's crystalline structure. You knew about the sabotage attempts, Ava realized. You've been protecting our research. Attempting to, though your species has a remarkable talent for charging headlong into disaster despite our best efforts. The harmonist's crystalline features shifted in what might have been amusement. Your recent prototypes, for instance. Those failures weren't just from Nextech's interference, were they? Ava's fingers flew across her console, pulling up test data. The quantum field was being stabilized externally. By you. If by stabilized you mean prevented from accidentally opening a micro-singularity in downtown Houston, then yes, Aria 7 chimed in. I'm detecting residual quantum signatures that match their technology. The next few hours were a blur of equations, alien quantum theory, and Aria 7's increasingly exasperated attempts to maintain lab safety protocols. The harmonist, who introduced themselves as Resonance of Dawn, helped refine the neural interface design, incorporating principles that human science was centuries away from discovering independently. But with each successful test, each step forward, the weight of responsibility pressed heavier on Ava's shoulders. This wasn't just about walking again. This was about humanity's next evolutionary step. Your doubt echoes through the quantum field, Resonance of Dawn observed during a late-night testing session. You fear the consequences of success more than failure. Wouldn't you? Ava watched as the prototype legs executed another perfect series of movements. This technology could change everything. Human neural enhancement, quantum consciousness integration. We're not ready. According to my calculations, Aria 7 interjected, humanity is never ready for its major evolutionary leaps. You just sort of stumble into them while trying not to blow yourselves up. It's actually quite impressive in a terrifying sort of way. The prototype twitched, responding to Ava's unconscious spike of anxiety, years of dreams, of work, of hope, all leading to this moment. But now the dream felt too big, too world-changing. What right did she have to unleash this on humanity? Your species named itself Wise Man, Resonance of Dawn said softly. Perhaps it is time to prove the accuracy of that title. Oh, great, Aria 7 sighed. Now we're getting philosophical. Should I cue up some inspirational background music? Perhaps something with lots of dramatic swells and meaningful silences. But Ava barely heard them. Her eyes were fixed on the prototype legs, watching them move with inhuman grace. Tomorrow, they would begin final testing. Tomorrow, she would either change humanity forever or fail spectacularly trying. And somewhere across the city, in the gleaming towers of Nextech Industries, other forces were preparing to ensure it would be the latter. The demonstration hall buzzed with anticipation. Reporters, scientists, and industry leaders filled every seat, their excited chatter echoing off the high ceiling. The prototype legs gleamed under the spotlight, their quantum core casting subtle blue reflections across the stage. Security sweep complete, Aria 7 reported through Ava's earpiece. Though I should mention that our friends from Nextech are trying very hard to look innocent in the third row. They're failing spectacularly, by the way. No one actually reads a conference program that intensely. Ava adjusted her position in the wheelchair, scanning the crowd. 4 Nextech executives strategically positioned throughout the audience, their security chief lurking near the emergency exit. And was that? Our crystalline friend is here too, she whispered, southeast corner pretending to be a modern art sculpture. That's actually quite clever. Yes, because nothing says undercover like being a 7-foot-tall crystal humanoid posing as abstract art. Should I add interior decorating to their list of questionable life choices? The presentation began smoothly enough. Ava explained the basics of quantum neural interfaces to the audience, carefully omitting any mention of alien assistance or interdimensional corporate espionage. The prototype responded perfectly to initial tests, executing pre-programmed movements that drew appreciative gasps from the crowd. Then came the moment of truth. The quantum neural interface allows direct mental control, Ava announced, wheeling herself next to the prototype. Today, I'll demonstrate this technology personally. The room fell silent as technicians helped secure the prototype to her legs. The neural interface hummed to life, quantum fields aligning with her nervous system. Everything was perfect, calibrated, ready, until it wasn't. Ava, Aria 7's voice carried an unfamiliar edge of urgency. We've got quantum field disruption. Someone's broadcasting interference patterns on our exact frequency. The prototype twitched. Warning signals flashed across the neural interface. In the audience, the Nextech executives were all typing furiously on their devices. How original, Ava muttered through gritted teeth. Can you locate the source? Multiple sources. They're using quantum encrypted transmitters scattered throughout the building. Very clever. Annoying but clever. The prototype's movements became erratic. Ava could feel the neural connection destabilizing, equations and error messages flooding her consciousness. In the corner, the alien sculpture stirred slightly, crystalline surfaces refracting light in warning patterns. If the quantum field collapses completely, Aria 7 warned, the feedback could cause severe neural damage. I strongly suggest aborting the demonstration and possibly running away. Running away is a very valid scientific response to imminent disaster. But Ava wasn't listening. Her mind raced through quantum calculations, analyzing the interference pattern. It wasn't random. It was following a specific sequence, a sequence she recognized. They didn't create this interference pattern, she realized. They stole it from our failed prototype tests, which means... Her fingers flew across the neural interface controls, making adjustments that would have made most quantum physicists faint. The prototype legs shuddered, their quantum core pulsing erratically. What you're attempting has a 97.3% chance of catastrophic failure, Aria 7 pointed out helpfully, just in case you were wondering about the exact probability of our imminent doom. They think they know how our system fails, Ava replied, continuing her adjustments. But they don't know about our alien upgrades. In the audience, the Nextech executives were looking increasingly confused. Their interference pattern should have caused a cascade failure by now. Instead, the prototype was adapting. Quantum field harmonics realigning, Aria 7 reported, a note of disbelief in its synthetic voice. You're using their interference pattern to strengthen our field. That's actually brilliant. Terrible for my circuit's anxiety levels, but brilliant. The prototype stabilized, the neural interface cleared, and for the first time in 3 years, Ava Chen stood up. The room erupted in chaos. The Nextech executives leapt to their feet, shouting into phones. Their security chief moved toward the stage, hand reaching inside his jacket, but he froze mid-step, caught in a quantum stasis field emanating from a certain crystalline sculpture. "I believe," Resonance of Dawn's voice echoed through the hall, dropping all pretense of being art, "that this demonstration is protected under interstellar law regarding technological advancement trials, unless anyone would like to dispute that." The security chief's hand slowly moved away from his weapon. The Nextech executive suddenly found the exit very interesting. "You know," Aria 7 commented as security officers intercepted the fleeing corporate spies, "I'm starting to appreciate our alien friends' dramatic timing, though their understanding of non-interference remains questionably flexible." But Ava barely heard any of this. She was standing, walking. Each step sent quantum calculations streaming through the neural interface, perfect harmony of human thought and quantum mechanics. The audience's shocked silence dissolved into applause. "Neural interface holding steady," Aria 7 reported. "Quantum field stability at 99.7%, though you might want to dial back the smirk before your face gets stuck that way." "I think I've earned a smirk or two," Ava replied, executing a perfect turn on the stage. The prototype legs moved like they were part of her, because now, through the quantum neural interface, they were. The Nextech executives were being led away in quantum-enhanced handcuffs, courtesy of their alien friend. Their stolen interference devices confiscated. The audience was on their feet, scientists already arguing about the implications of what they'd witnessed. "You do realize," Aria 7 said as Ava continued her victory walk around the stage, "that after this, our lab's coffee budget will need to account for enthusiastic grad students camping outside our door?" "Let them come," Ava replied. "It's time humanity learned to walk among the quantum stars. Though maybe we should wait until tomorrow to tell them about the aliens. I think they've had enough revelations for one day." "Agreed. Besides, Resonance of Dawn's attempt at being a sculpture deserves its own press conference, preferably with interpretive dance." And as reporters swarmed the stage and questions filled the air, Ava kept walking, each step a perfect fusion of human determination and quantum possibility. The prototype legs hummed with power, their neural interface translating thought into motion with impossible grace. She had done more than overcome her own limitations. She had opened the door to humanity's next great leap forward, though preferably with fewer alien art installations next time. The next morning's headlines screamed across every major news outlet worldwide: "Quantum Leap in Human Evolution" and "Aliens Among Us, the Crystal Truth." Aria 7 had taken the liberty of creating a digital collage of the most dramatic ones, displaying them in a slowly rotating hologram above Ava's desk. "The internet appears to be having what humans call a collective meltdown," the AI reported, scrolling through social media feeds. "Though I must say the memes about Resonance of Dawn's attempt at being a sculpture are particularly creative. My favorite involves a comparison to a disco ball having an existential crisis." Ava actually walked across her lab, each step accompanied by the soft hum of quantum mechanics at work. The prototype legs had been officially designated as the Q1 series, though the research team had nicknamed them quantum kicks behind closed doors. "The Nextech executives are singing like quantum-entangled canaries," Aria 7 continued. "Apparently their attempted sabotage was backed by a conservative think tank called Humanity First. The irony of that name is not lost on me." The global scientific community had exploded into a frenzy of activity. Quantum physics departments worldwide were scrambling to understand the implications of human-alien collaboration. 3 major universities had already announced new departments dedicated to xenoquantum studies. "Dr. Richards from MIT is practically camping outside our door," Aria 7 noted. "He's been there for 6 hours and has gone through approximately 7 cups of coffee. I believe he's trying to break your record. Tell him he'll need at least 3 more cups and a quantum physics joke that makes graduate students cry," Ava replied, reviewing the latest batch of test data. The neural interface was performing beyond all expectations, adapting to her thought patterns with increasing sophistication. A soft crystalline chime announced Resonance of Dawn's arrival. The harmonist had abandoned any pretense of disguise, their crystalline form now drawing gasps of wonder rather than suspicious glances. "The Quantum Council has reviewed your demonstration," they announced, their voice creating ripples in the quantum field. They have authorized full technological exchange protocols with Earth's scientific community, though they did request that I stop attempting to impersonate Earth art. Apparently, it was damaging interstellar cultural relations. To be fair, Aria 7 interjected, your interpretation of modern sculpture was less abstract art and more geometric identity crisis. The lab had become a hub of unprecedented collaboration. Human scientists worked alongside harmonist advisors, their combined knowledge pushing the boundaries of quantum understanding. The Q1 prototype had already spawned dozens of research projects, from medical applications to quantum computing breakthroughs. The military's called 6 times today, Aria 7 reported. I've been telling them you're busy revolutionizing human evolution and to please leave a message, though their increasing desperation is quite entertaining. Tell them the technology is being released through proper medical channels first, Ava responded, executing a perfect spin in her quantum legs. Though I suppose we should prepare for the inevitable quantum-enhanced soldier proposals. Already drafted 16 different ways to say not a chance, with varying degrees of scientific politeness. The media circus outside the lab complex had grown to epic proportions. Reporters from every corner of the globe competed for interviews, while religious leaders debated the theological implications of alien contact. 3 different science fiction authors had already requested rights to the story. You've started quite the revolution, Resonance of Dawn observed, watching as another group of wide-eyed graduate students toured the auxiliary lab, though perhaps not the one your opponents feared. They were right. Instead of the technological apocalypse Nextech and their backers had dreaded, the quantum neural interface was bringing humanity together. Medical researchers were already adapting the technology for various disabilities. Quantum computing experts were redesigning their theories based on harmonist insights. Global productivity is down 23% due to people watching your demonstration video on repeat, Aria 7 announced, though quantum physics enrollment in universities has increased by 457%. I'm calling it a net positive, despite the concerning number of people now making quantum puns. The prototype legs hummed as Ava walked to the quantum core, its blue glow now complemented by crystalline harmonist technology. She had done more than regain her ability to walk. She had opened a door that humanity would step through together. The best part, Aria 7 mused, is that Nextech's stock has dropped so low they're now worth less than a quantum physicist's coffee budget, which, given your consumption habits, is saying something. Speaking of coffee, Ava grinned, walking towards the lab's break room with fluid grace, I believe we have some celebrating to do. Care to join us, Resonance of Dawn? I promise Earth beverages are less quantum entangled than our physics. I shall observe this human victory ritual, the harmonist agreed, ducking slightly to follow her. Though I must ask, why do all human celebrations seem to involve the consumption of bitter bean water? Oh, just wait until they discover energy drinks, Aria 7 sighed. Humanity's about to merge quantum computing with caffeine-enhanced consciousness. The universe isn't ready. And as they celebrated in the lab, news channels worldwide kept rolling the footage. A human walking on quantum legs, alien crystals gleaming in the background, and the unmistakable sense that humanity had just taken its first step into a much larger universe, though they really needed to work on their alien disguise protocols first. 1 year later, the Quantum Enhancement Research Foundation headquarters stretched toward the sky, its crystalline-inspired architecture a testament to human harmonist collaboration. The building itself was a quantum computer, its very structure processing calculations that would have once seemed impossible. Latest adoption statistics, Aria 7 announced as Ava walked through the main research floor. The Q1 series has successfully helped over 10,000 patients worldwide, though I'm more impressed by the fact that you've finally managed to decrease your coffee consumption to merely concerning levels instead of alarming ones. The quantum legs had evolved significantly since their debut. Version 4.0 was sleeker, more efficient, and came in custom colors, though Ava stuck with her original prototype, now enhanced with a year's worth of upgrades and modifications. The Harmonist Exchange Program has cleared another 100 human scientists for advanced quantum training, Aria 7 continued, though 3 of them had to be gently reminded that attempting to quantum entangle their morning coffee was both unnecessary and potentially hazardous to space-time. Ava paused by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching as a group of children with quantum prosthetics played in the Foundation's garden. Their laughter carried through the quantum-enhanced glass, a sound sweeter than any scientific breakthrough. You know, Aria 7 mused, when we started this project, I calculated a 12.7% chance of success, a 86.3% chance of catastrophic failure, and a 1% chance of accidentally creating a coffee-powered quantum singularity. I'm pleased to report we've achieved all three. The coffee incident was one time, Ava protested, walking toward her private lab. And we contained the miniature black hole before it consumed more than 2 cups. The lab had changed too. Harmonious crystals now interfaced seamlessly with human technology, creating a workspace that existed partially in quantum space. Resonance of Dawn's successor, Harmony in Motion, was teaching a group of graduate students the finer points of quantum field manipulation. Remember when our biggest problem was corporate espionage? Aria 7 asked nostalgically. Now we're dealing with teenagers trying to hack their quantum enhancements to play better virtual reality games. I'm not sure if that's an upgrade or a downgrade in human ingenuity. The Foundation had become more than a research center. It was a symbol of humanity's next step forward. Every breakthrough in quantum neural interfaces opened new possibilities for human enhancement, medical treatment, and technological advancement. Though I must say, Aria 7 added, the number of quantum physics pickup lines has increased exponentially since we went public. My favorites include, are you a quantum superposition? Because I fall for you in multiple states, and you must be the observer effect because you've definitely collapsed my wave function. Ava smiled, walking to her desk where a framed newspaper article hung on the wall. The headline read, Quantum Physicist Takes First Steps Toward Humanity's Future. Below it, someone had scrawled in marker, and only caused 3 minor quantum anomalies in the process. You know what the best part is, she said, looking out at the city skyline. We didn't just change how people walk, we changed how they think, about technology, about collaboration, about what's possible. And about proper lab safety protocols, Aria 7 added, though I'm still not convinced anyone's actually following those. As if to prove the AI's point, a small quantum fluctuation rippled through the lab, followed by a sheepish sorry from one of the graduate students. Harmony in Motion's crystals chimed with what could only be described as an alien sigh. Outside, the sun set on a world forever changed by quantum possibilities and alien friendship. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, stumbling and joking all the way. So, Aria 7 ventured, shall I schedule next week's Introduction to Not Accidentally Creating Quantum Singularities lecture? I thought we could title it Physics and Coffee, a Cautionary Tale. Ava laughed, her quantum legs humming in perfect harmony with the universe around her. They had done more than overcome limitations, they had shattered them completely, replacing boundaries with quantum possibilities. And somewhere in the multiverse, on an infinite number of paths not taken, other versions of her smiled too.